Okay, so I've got a respiratory infection, so I'm not going to be able to talk. So I'm just going to show you what my healthy lunch is going to look like. Good to go. It's more like scrambled egg than omelette, but I'm going to give my husband some bread with it because it's too much for me. So I hope you enjoyed watching me make that.
In the unlikely event in 1868, its original position was
Recovering from this infection, so really sorry that my video's taken long to get out, but I just wanted to show you where I am this afternoon. I've gone on a little walk, still push myself to keep going with the exercise, because even though I'm not entirely well, I can't just not exercise because I think there'll always be a reason why not to. So I just thought I'd show you where I'm having a little quick sit down halfway through the walk. Just been up to drop off something for one of my grandsons, so this is a little kind of piece of nature on the way back before I go back out onto the main street. It's really pretty, isn't it? Well, hello everybody, this is the final part of the video where I'm going to show you how to start off a watercolour. So these are the brushes that I use. I think is it Nike Pro, but it doesn't matter what you use, but you do need a decent watercolour type brush if you're going to use watercolour, so they're soft. The paper I'm using is a multimedia paper, which isn't ideal. It's better if you use watercolour, but you can get away with a mixed media paper as well. So yeah, still struggling with my voice, which is why I didn't actually speak to you whilst I was painting. I used Japanese watercolour, and the reason for that is they're very soft and malleable, and you get a really good colour pigmentation when you're using them. These have been well used. I'll try and find the name of them when I put some overlays in the video. So yeah, so I've got my paper ready. I have an image that I've chosen because one of my subscribers from TikTok wanted a particular image, an Egyptian image. So I've got an AI art image, and I'm going to use that as a basis for my drawing. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. It's really good to have something to aim for, but I never worry if it doesn't look like exactly what that picture's going to look like. So I've got an ordinary pencil here. And one thing that I would recommend is that you don't go in too heavy with your pencil lines. So first thing I'm doing is putting like the obvious structures in place. So this is some sort of pillar on the right hand side. And as I say, don't press too hard, because if you don't press too hard, you really don't need to rub out very much, even if it doesn't go entirely according to plan. So I'm holding the pencil really, really lightly and just sketching in this pillar on the right hand side. And I'm looking at how much space it's going to take up in the whole of the scene. So I've got the scene there, and I'm working out how much of that scene, when I'm looking at my iPad, this pillar takes up, and I'm trying to mirror that on the paper. And then in the corner is some sort of what they called grasses, palm tree type effect. And the image that I'm using, I'm not showing here because I don't want you to kind of judge me for what I'm doing, but it's quite loosely painted. So people talk about tight painting, loose painting. With watercolour, you can go very loose. If you use a lot of water with the watercolour and just let it bleed in, the colours bleed into each other and seep across the page, and that's very loose painting. I'm going to say that my natural way of painting is quite tight normally, but because I'm copying a picture that isn't tight, then this is going to end up being quite a loose painting. So obviously I know how far I got with this painting today, and what you're going to see is all of the drawing done, and you're going to see the first layer of watercolour going on with a few things left out, so what I call like the base layer of colour. And what you can't really do in watercolour is you can't rush it, so you have to let that first layer dry. And it's really good as well to take a break and step back from your painting and say, okay, is this roughly how I want it to look? It's better to take your time and get the colours you want as well. And you'll see me using a mixing palette in a minute for trying to get the colours right. Again, doesn't matter if they're not exact, but you know, I use that mixing palette. You don't need a mixing palette. You could have a plastic plate, you could have a metal plate. Metal's a little bit harder to deal with, but as long as you've got somewhere to mix and you've got a cup of water and you've got decent brushes, excuse me, away you go really. I've just put in very, very loose sketching of the other bits of palm tree. So there's one big palm tree that you see me draw on the left, and then two further to the left there are some smaller palm trees. And now I'm drawing the lady in the picture. So this is the bit where you want to make sure that if you're drawing a person, that they are the right size according to your picture. So I obviously don't want her to be bigger than the palm tree. And in the painting, she is actually quite big, according to that palm tree, but she's also got her back to me. So if you're very unsure about drawing people, you might still be able to draw people with their backs to you, because you don't have to do any face detail. That's a good way to start having a go at people. So she's wearing some sort of Egyptian costume and some sort of robe. And the little lines that I'm putting in there on the dress is to show where the light will fall and where the creases will happen. Because if I don't do that, then I might just do a block colour. So now I'm going for the face, which is extremely difficult at an angle. And actually the AI picture that I have, that I'm copying from at the moment, is just done a very kind of mushy sort of looking face. So not helpful for me at all. So I'm kind of making it up a little bit now as I'm going along and doing her slightly looking to the side. But I think that's come out okay. And I'm doing the hair a bit longer than what the picture shows it. She's got sort of an Egyptian kind of haircut going on. So yeah, I'm fairly happy with that. Occasionally on this paper you do get a little bit of bubbling and buckling, sort of where the paper starts coming away a little bit, which is why it's better really to use watercolour. But this was the size paper I wanted, is what I laid my hands on. So this bit I'm doing here is another main part of the picture, which is a boat, an Egyptian style boat. And you'll see in a minute that I kind of go a little bit too big with it, But again, it's another main piece of the picture, so I'm trying to get that in. And could have, to be honest, I could have started with the boat or the lady, but to try and get those in proportion with the trees, it was better to start with the trees. And this is the water in the front, just a few lines. And then behind, everything goes quite sort of wispy in the backgrounds because it's background palm trees and it's background bushes and stuff like that. So I did actually struggle to do that bit because it's almost like I don't really want to bother drawing it at this point. I'm not sure what I'm doing actually. I'm doing those palm trees now, just with a few little leaves on them, just to get a bit of perspective really. But to be honest, these little bits of drawing are useless to me because when I come to paint, I'll just paint all over this and put my own little bit of detail in. But it's just to show where they are at the minute. This is where the water meets the bank. And then there's kind of like fluffy bits of kind of bush and greenery behind, which is a bit nondescript, but I think I do a little bit of that. And this is some sort of pyramid behind. Obviously that needs to be accurately drawn. There's a good angle, and there's two of those. And that's pretty much where we're leaving off, and then we're going to start doing the painting. So I'm having a look at my brushes. I want something that's not too small because this is the first layer of paint, and when we go for more detail later we can go smaller, but at the same time this piece of paper is not that big. Some of my brushes are not brilliant at the ends, that's why I'm having a check of that there, but I've got a size I'm happy with. And get my mixer in. And I'm going to start with that right hand pillar because it's quite big, and it'll get me off to a good start. So that's what I'm going to do first. When we get the pauses, I'm just checking on the colours and stuff like that because I can't show you absolutely everything in the picture, although you can see what I'm doing here now. So I start with this, but I soon realise that it's not really quite right, so I end up getting some other colours mixed in. I'm just going to give my voice a little rest now and let you watch for a little while, and I'll come back to you in a minute. So one thing that you never do is put too much paint on the page until you're sure, because you can add, but it's very hard to take away. So I'm going in quite tentatively with some lines because this is like a pillar with almost like stonework in it. So on the left hand side I'm going to go heavier because on the right hand side is where the light falls. So I'm going to come from the left, and then on the right I'm not going to do a whole lot. And just make sure it has some sort of line involved. Now I'm trying to decide what colour I want to add in, because it had several colours in it. It has sort of like a bluey colour and lighter. So yeah, I'm probably trying to decide where I'm going to go with it. I've gone for the ochre. Not needing to be too precise at this point, just trying to get the pillar look, like a stonework look happening, which means coming down as well as going across a little bit. All of this will get more done sort of in more detail later, but we're just trying to get the main objects on board. So I'm using the fact that it's still wet to allow the colours to bleed in a little bit, because the bottom of the pillar has definitely got more colour in it. But now I'm just letting the water do the work for me. And I've decided that the top is darker as well and more defined, so this is what I'm doing now. I'm now trying to mix a colour that's going to go on the right hand side for the light, but what's happened is the ochre has run into that cream, so I've got to make it a bit more creamy because it needs to be lighter. And then I'm coming down that right hand side, so imagine the light is shining against the pillar, so that's what I'm doing there. And I'm not really doing a full line to outline it, I'm just using that light colour there to give it the effect there's light shining on one side. And I think that's all I do to the pillar. I think I move on to the leaves in a minute. Okay, so what I've decided is that I've got enough of the right colour to do her skirt. Unfortunately, it looks like you might be slightly out of the picture there. I probably don't realise you can't see everything. But I'm putting the main colour of her skirt in there. But I'm also leaving some white gaps, as you'll see, which can be, I can use dark on it. That's what I'm doing now, putting the dark in. And then what you've got is a look of sort of folds on the skirt. And then some sort of waistband there. Doesn't look like I'm going to move this paper up anytime soon, so apologies if you do miss out on the actual bottom of it, but you've got most of the picture there. Oh, I'm moving it a bit. I can't always check on the top of the phone to see where we're at, but you've mostly got it, so it's not too bad. Right, now I'm going for the leaves. I think I start on the right for this. It's not quite the right colour actually, but it's a nice deep green, so it's a good start. Oh no, going at the top. So because I want the end of the leaves just to kind of go into a nice faded point, I'm not being too precise about where the brush goes. I'm just almost flicking branches out and just letting the ends go thinner, if you can see. I'm trying to get that wispy look and letting the brush do a lot of the work. It's quite a nice type of painting to do when you've got lots of plants and stuff. When you're doing watercolour, it's fun. And now you can see why there's no need when you draw your picture to absolutely have every piece of detail drawn, because your paintbrush is going to do a lot of that for you. And at the very end, I rub all of my drawing bits out as well, the very end, because they're not needed. So at this point I know that I'm going to be adding in other colours, so it's not just down to the screen making the whole thing look finished. So if I do too much of that, I wouldn't have room for other colours, so I think I'll leave it there. I think I'll then mix like quite a strange green actually to go in a little palm tree by the left of it. Yeah, sorry that the camera kind of doesn't always capture everything, but I think you're going to get most of it. So that's a nice contrast green there, and I end up putting some of that green into the rest of the palm tree as well, because it picks up and it makes the picture look more joined together. I mean, in the actual picture, I think it has a little bit of that as well, but I'm using my own sort of independent art skills to think I know what will work here. If I pick up on that in here as well, it'll look like it's definitely the same plant and it's a continuous kind of growth going on. So sorry about the wobble there. Now I'm going to mix up and go for a lighter colour for the pyramids, which was a little bit testing because the pyramids don't actually in the original have much colour at all. And also the right hand side has no colour. So it's quite difficult when you go to add white to paintings. It's almost better to add it at the end and try to avoid putting it in too early so that you can get your contrast, because watercolour mixes and sort of bleeds into each other. So sometimes you can end up not getting a light enough colour. But I mean, this is going okay at the minute. Again, we're just talking basic layer right now. It's going to end up with a lot more detail than this. So what I'll do is, I've obviously got other crafting things we've been doing. We've got the health journal, we've got the teddy bear journal. I'll be coming back on both of those, and I'll come back on this one, and probably there'll be 3 layers of watercolour, maybe 4 in total. So I might well just show you kind of 1 layer at a time with other things that I want to show you. So now we're going in for the boat. Again, I wasn't too sure what colour to go for here because the sail's very light. It's similar to the pyramids behind, but I didn't want to do that, so I've gone for like a bluey grey on one part of the kind of sail there. The bottom of the boat is a reddy colour, but I don't attempt this in this sitting. I get to a point with this where well done, Nairi, where I feel like I'm getting tired and I don't want to add too much. This bit's quite easy with the leaves because they were all going in one direction in the picture in front of me, so that was quite nice. And I do this and I do the water. I do actually do quite a lot of the girls, so if you're still trying to hang on in there and you find this quite slow to watch, it's probably worth hanging on at least to see me finish the girl's face and skin and hair, which has to be correct, has to be right, so that's definitely worth waiting for. I think right now I might be mixing her skin colour, and it's quite difficult to do that, to get it right. It's kind of like a brown, but almost like a reddy brown. So I think that's what I'm doing now. So apologies for the delay. No, what am I doing? Another bit of her skirt, actually. Okay, maybe not then, but I am working on her now, so we should get her. I think I do her in one go. I'm struggling to see where my line should be now for the minute. I'm pretty tentative here because I'm not too sure where the arm is going, where the body's going, but I do manage to work that out a bit later. So unlike a lot of my other paintings, this is actually in real time, so it might seem a little bit slow, but I'm able to explain to you what I'm doing. Whereas when you do a time lapse, yes, you see a painting kind of taking shape really quickly, but you can't necessarily have anything explained to you at the same time. There we go, there's the skin colour there. So I've mixed a really good skin colour. I'm really happy with it. And I think this takes shape really well, actually. I've got to be really careful that it doesn't bleed into anything I've already painted. It's a bit of a risk where I'm painting at the moment, but I managed to kind of get away with it not running into anything, and that's something you've got to be really careful with. With watercolour, you just make sure it's dry. If you're working alongside an area, that you actually make sure that it's not going to run into each other. I'm trying to work out how wide the straps are going to go. I don't quite achieve the width that I want because I'm trying to get the shoulder and the arm right, but I thought it was more important to get the arms right than worry about the straps, really. So I'm really happy with that. I think a side of her face has come out alright as well. So her hair is supposed to be black, but I don't put black on as the first port of call. I think I mix quite a dark blue for it, so that I can add in black lines later. Again, I've got to be careful not to get too close to that brown because it would run, and I've only just done it, so really it's best not to do any painting alongside each other where it's not the same colour until it's dry. But I was impatient to see what it would look like, so that's why I've carried on and done it. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So what I'm adding in now is a bit of definition. In the picture that I'm using, there's a lot of dark blue in this plant, which is quite unusual, I guess. Probably not true to life, but I've just used something for her hair, and then I've mixed that with the green, and away we go, just to get a little bit more detail in. So that's what I'm doing now. And at this point, I can feel that I'm getting tireder and possibility of making mistakes. So I finish by putting these blue bits in, and then I mix up a colour ready for the water. But rather than carry on and do the bottom of the palm tree and the stuff down there in the left hand corner, I don't do the bottom of the boat because it's better to stop and come back to it, let everything dry, rather than make mistakes and get tired and sort of do stuff that you regret. So if you guys are new to the channel's all about mixing well-being with craft and how the two things can benefit each other. And I've done craft channels before, but this is different because it's including me trying to, live a healthier life, not just lose weight, but actually prioritize exercise and well-being. So if you're not into crafting or art and you want to give this a go, then do give it a little try. And I hope that you'll subscribe so that you can find me again on my channel, and you'll see lots and lots of different ideas that I give you, some things to try. I love it when the water goes in, and later I will use different types of blue for the water, which will be good fun. I'm enjoying doing this bit. It's one of my favourite bits to do. You can see that the whole thing is starting to come together, but it has a long way to go. One of the big mistakes I often make is overdoing it. So I'll do a second layer of watercolour, then I'll do a third. But sometimes I find myself adding in more after that, and that's generally a mistake. So I try to hold myself with this one, not to keep adding too much in, and keep what I would call this to be quite a loose painting. Apart from the girl, this is all quite loose at the moment. So this is for Sue, so I hope Sue's able to see what I'm doing, and I hope Sue likes the start of this. And what I'll be doing is sending it off to her in the post when it's finished, because she's been an extremely loyal subscriber on TikTok, so it's high time she got something back. So that's what I'll be doing for Sue. And up here now, that was the wrong colour, so I kind of washed that down a bit with water. And that's the sort of sunsetty type sky that's going on. Just put a little bit of that in, just to get, again, an area where we know where things are, really. I don't know what I'm doing now. I think I'm trying to get a slightly stronger colour, I think, for the right. I'm probably struggling with it. Yeah. Can you see I've got bits there? Like I've got a piece of paintbrush and bits of paper there. So this is like my hint that actually I just need to stop now, regardless of the fact that I'd love to do more for you on this video. I think I can tell that I'm probably going to ruin it if I don't stop. So I hope you guys have enjoyed being with me, and I'll see you on the next video of Crafted Roots. Goodbye.